I'm here, first of all, to announce that the 91st and final prosecution witness has been heard at the trial of the Special Court for Sierra Leone at the special venue of The Hague in the courtroom of the International Criminal Court. That testimony was concluded on Friday afternoon. That was the 91st in a procession of prosecution witnesses that began on the 7th of January of 2008, essentially 13 calendar months, but in actually court weeks, because there were periodic recesses, it was 41 full court weeks of sessions. We believe, from the prosecution point of view, that we have accomplished what we set out to do. But before I talk about that, I do want to praise the people that were in court every day, led by Principal Trial Attorney Brenda Hollis. Also praise the special court judges and all of the personnel of the special court for the great professionalism shown in bringing this trial forward to this milestone. It's been demonstrated that it is possible to prosecute a former chief of state in a trial that is fair and efficient, even where the indictment covers wide-ranging crimes. We've seen international justice operating in accordance with the highest standards. From a prosecution point of view, our responsibility is to prove Charles Taylor guilty under the indictment, under which he was charged with 11 counts of war crimes, crimes against humanity, and other violations of international humanitarian law committed during the Civil War in Sierra Leone in 1996, from 1996 to 2002. In terms of the crimes of commission, those involved thousands of murders, incidents of mutilation, of rape, of sexual slavery, of pillage, of slavery for forced marriage purposes, of collective punishment, that were all part of a campaign of terror against the civilian population that is itself the crime of terror in a civil war. And also, in addition to those specific crimes that were crimes against humanity and war crimes, we've also charged in this case, as we have in our others, the crime of recruitment and use of children under the age of 15 in active hostilities. We built our case on the strength of 31 insider witnesses who testified to the links between Taylor and the crimes committed in Sierra Leone. And in that regard, it's important to point out again that we are not trying Charles Taylor for anything he allegedly did during the Civil War in Liberia or during his presidency, the Civil War beginning in '89 and his presidency ending in August of 2003, where he's being tried before our court on crimes committed in Sierra Leone during the period of our temporal jurisdiction, which began November 30th, 1996, and ended with the end of hostilities in January of 2002. We also presented 52 crime-based witnesses who themselves had seen or suffered these atrocities. And I want to pay particular tribute to these witnesses, the brave men and women who've taken the stand against Charles Taylor and recounted their suffering. They have included amputees, rape victims, former child soldiers, and persons enslaved, robbed, and terrorized. And I am in awe of their courage and grateful for their willingness to travel thousands of miles to bear witness. The contrast between these victims and the accused could not be more stark, and this was brought home in particular by the last witness, a man whose left hand was amputated by the rebels who are alleged to have been controlled or aided by Taylor. When his 4-year-old son protested the injury to his papa, and the rebels then threatened the boy with amputation, the witness then offered his own right hand to save his son, which the rebels then proceeded to chop off. Here we saw a man who sacrificed his own hands for the future of his son, bearing witness against a man alleged to have sacrificed the lives, the hands, and the futures of thousands of human beings in pursuit of his own wealth and power. Of the 91 witnesses, only 4 testified entirely in closed session. All the rest were heard in open court, with some protected by partial security measures such as voice or facial distortion. And all open session testimony has been streamed worldwide over the Internet. There have been daily newspaper and radio coverage in Sierra Leone and Liberia, and I particularly want to cite the program by which 3 Sierra Leone journalists and 3 Liberian journalists were brought to The Hague in 3-month shifts to cover the trial and prepare radio reports in local languages on a daily basis under the auspices of the BBC World Service Trust. And having been to Liberia now a dozen times and having traveled all over Sierra Leone, their reports had a great degree of penetration everywhere in those countries. I should note that the prosecution's case will not officially close until certain pending motions before the judges are decided, and there remains the possibility that further evidence may be presented depending on these decisions. In that regard, the judges have scheduled a court hearing a week from today, the morning of the 9th of February. I'll be there in The Hague with my team, and then we'll know what's happening with these motions, and we believe we can then proceed to questions about the scheduling of the usual motion to dismiss that the defense always files after the close of a prosecution case, and also then following that the beginning of the defense case itself. At this point, we don't have specific details on what that calendar will be. We can only speculate, but I'll be glad to speculate with you.